A shattered family sharing their grief. The sister of Susana Morales, this teenage girl murdered last year, now speaking out about her death and sharing the changes that she wants to see from police. Susana was just one of 3 Hispanic teenagers who disappeared and were later found dead in Gwinnett County. And tonight, police held a forum with the community to hear their concerns on these cases. Atlanta News First Tori Cooper was there, and Tori, parents want to know how these missing persons cases are being handled.
They do, and these families had some very specific questions for the police chief and his command staff that were here tonight fielding these questions. Some of them wanted to know what police are doing to actively create leads in cases involving missing teens, and most of all, they wanted to know that the Gwinnett County Police Department is taking every case like this very seriously. Tonight, Hispanic families are grieving.
Whoever doesn't have a voice, I'm that voice.
And want more answers from Gwinnett County Police. It comes after multiple teens were reported missing and later found dead. Parents of 16-year-old Susana Morales, who was reported missing in July and found dead in early February, claim police are not being transparent enough. But the Morales family is not the only family looking for answers.
God forbid if my child goes missing, how can you guys take precautions and protocols for my son or daughter to not be labeled a runaway case?
Several parents wanted to know how police create leads and investigate missing cases and runaways.
When your child goes missing, my child goes missing.
Cuando su hijo se desaparece, mi hija se desaparece.
We use every tool at our resource to locate any child who is missing.
Other parents wanted to know how police are fighting fentanyl pouring into the community.
I am the mother of a child who was murdered because they were sold fentanyl.
Police reminding parents they have 10 narcotic investigators working around the clock to track down and prosecute fentanyl dealers and respond to overdose calls.
The most important thing I want our community to know
Lo más importante que quiero que nuestra comunidad sepa
is that we take these crimes seriously.
Now, I had a chance to catch up with some people and residents that showed up here to this forum to ask them if they felt a little bit better after hearing from police and addressing some of the concerns with the police officers and the police chief. And some of them said yes, while others say they want city leaders to consider creating a curfew for teens in the community to help make it a safer place for everyone. We'll continue to follow the very latest on how these cases transpire and this narrative here in Gwinnett County, and we'll share the very latest with you right here on Atlanta News First. I'm Tori Cooper reporting live in Gwinnett, Atlanta News First.
Tonight.